guys to please click the link on the chat box and download the worksheet. We will be using that in our class today. I think we're missing one person. Russell is not here. Jasmine, are you there? Hey, Jasmine. Do you have any idea where Russell is? Hold on. I think you're on mute, dear. Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, I'm messaging him.
Okay, where is that boy? Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Hey guys.
Hey. All right. So, today's interaction class, we're going to talk about the Philippines. Okay. I have a question. I just need one word from you. I'm going to ask a question and then give me the first word that comes into your minds. Okay? You don't have to think about it. There's no right or wrong questions. Just say the word that first comes into your mind. Okay. Let's start with the Enderon students. Guys, when we talk about Japan, what's the first word that comes into your mind? Russell.
Tonkatsu.
Tonkatsu. Okay. What about you, Jasmine?
Food.
I just thought of beautiful. And trees. I don't know why. Trees.
Okay. Beautiful and trees. Okay. Hana, Philippines. First word.
Mango.
Mango. Kaito.
Bananas.
Bananas. Okay. Eisuke?
Sea.
The sea. Okay. I have a question. I'm sorry. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Eisuke? Aisuke?
Yeah, Eisuke is correct.
Eisuke. All right. Okay. So we have banana, mango, sea, and Russell and Jasmine says Japan is beautiful and trees and tonkatsu. Okay. So, all right. Philippines, yes, is very well known for fruits. Yes, tropical fruits like mangoes and bananas. I think we export them all over the world. And Eisuke says, see, yes, we are an archipelago. So if you look at the map, the Philippines is actually a series of island that is surrounded by water. That's also one of the reasons why it's actually so humid in our country. Okay, humid. I'm gonna type it down. Hold on. Give me a sec. Okay, vocabulary. So humid. Guys, humid. When you say something is when you say it's humid, it just means when it's hot and moist. So you feel the wetness in the air. That just about describes the weather in this country. I think in Japan it's also the same, right? Especially during summer, very humid. Yeah. Okay. There's one thing that we have in common is we live in archipelagos. Okay. Hold on, let me get this. All right. I'm just gonna quickly show you a map of the Philippines. And then we'll probably do the interviews after this and the sharing. Okay, hold on a second. My class in is not working. Strange. Okay, here. Okay, so quick introduction. As you can see, you have 3 islands. There's actually just 3 islands. So on the topmost part, you will see Northern Luzon, Central Luzon, Southern Luzon. These are actually this region here is called Luzon. If you go to the middle one, the red area, that's called Visayas. So that's the second island. I know it's a lot of islands, but that's actually just grouped into one region. Okay, and the southernmost part, that's Mindanao. This is actually the area where you will find most resources, most natural resources. Okay, so those are the three main islands of the Philippines. One thing you also need to know about the Philippines is we have been a colony. We have been colonized by the Spanish for 333 years. So that's a very, very long time, which is why if you ever get to visit the Philippines, you will see that Spanish influence is very, very strong here. Even in the language itself, there's a lot of words that are actually Spanish words that we use. Okay, so having said that, I want you guys to take a look at the worksheet that you downloaded. Let's proceed to the interviews, which will happen. Let's do the interviews, and then maybe later let's share about what you learned today in this class. I will turn the interviews over to Russell and Jasmine. So what's gonna happen is you guys are just basically going to interview each other and fill out that worksheet. Okay, go ahead. You have the floor. Russell and Jasmine.
All right, so I think we'll start with asking asking about what languages that we speak. So can Jasmine do it first?
Actually, wait. Quick.
Okay,
Just
so
sorry. Just a quick note. Just a quick note. If we have enough time, you can ask whatever you want. You guys can just chat because this is what interaction is all about anyway. Okay, go. Sorry.
okay, so what languages I speak? I actually only speak English, but I do understand Filipino. I just can't really speak it, but I understand it. That's really it, though.
So next for me, I actually speak English and Filipino, and I think aside from that, I studied a little bit of Japanese and Chinese in my high school. So yeah, I think next would be let's go with Hana Ikeda. What languages do you speak?
Hello. I usually speak Japanese, and in school I have to speak English, but I'm not so good at speaking.
It's all right. You'll learn.
And next,
You'll learn quickly. Next, let's go with Eisuke Watari. What languages do you speak
Yes. Uh, I I can only speak Japanese.
fluently?
Yeah.
And lastly, let's have Kaito Oyama. What languages do you speak?
I speak Japanese as my first language, but I kind of can speak English because I went to international school. But yeah, English is my first language. Thank you.
Oh. So
Sorry, no.
next,
Japanese is
which one
my
you said
first
first?
language. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
So, guys, which town and city and province are you from? What are they known for? So let's go with Kaito.
Uh, I live in Kobe, Hyogo Prefecture. Um, what famous?
Kobe
I
beef.
think Kobe beef. Yeah, Kobe beef. Yeah, Kobe beef. Yeah, Kobe beef. That's that's it.
What about you, Eisuke? Eisuke Watari.
I'm from Osaka, and Osaka is famous for takoyaki. Do you know takoyaki?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and
the balls with octopus inside,
yes,
and then
I love it.
vegetables,
Mhm.
and then let's go with Hana Keda.
um, I'm from Mie Prefecture. It's in countryside, and in my prefecture, there's a shrine which is very famous, called Isejingu, and Japanese emperor, um, every every year Japanese emperor comes and meets, I don't know, God, I don't know, but something like that.
For me,
And
I'm
you?
from Metro Manila. So yeah, basically it's the main city, like main region for the city side, and yeah, the I think the I think people know the main city for the modern buildings and yeah, the food.
What food, Russell, in particular?
Adobo. I think most of the people here like adobo.
Okay. Uh, I do you guys know what adobo is? Have you ever heard of adobo? Adobo is
It's
basically a
bas-
stew. Yeah, go ahead,
chicken.
Russell. Go.
So I think adobo is a chicken with soy and vinegar, and it's cooked until the chicken's very soft, and then you can taste the sauce. So it's kind of, what do you call it? Sour? No, that's not. It's not sour. Some people have it sweet. So there are different variations, and then some just use mostly vinegar. So yeah, Jasmine, what about you?
So I actually grew up in the States, and I also grew up half my life in the States and half my life in the Philippines. So in the Philippines, I grew up in Metro Manila, like Russell, but I stayed in more of the Parañaque and Manila or Makati area. So this is where all like the malls are, the destinations people usually go to when you reach like the Philippines, and a lot of the foreigners are there. So if you guys come to visit, this is where you would visit. That's where you would go, where the hotels are, the casinos, and all that stuff. Yeah.
It's like every 5 kilometers there's a mall or a casino
Yeah.
or a bar.
Yeah, that's actually not an exaggeration. We have a lot of malls here. But you usually use this as a, what do you call this? Like a hub. This is where you land when you get off the airport. But then, from here you can take buses or planes anywhere to wherever you want to visit in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Jasmine.
Like for example,
Oh, sorry, Russell, go ahead.
sorry. So like for example, in my city, I'm from Las Piñas. Like in one long road, there's like four malls in like 5 kilometers. And I think entirely in our city there's around seven malls. So you won't run out of malls here. Yeah.
Jasmine, sorry. You mentioned that you grew up in the States, right?
Hmm.
Yep. Why don't you tell us a bit
Yeah.
more about where you grew up?
In the States,
Yep.
I grew up in Colorado. I don't know if you guys know it because it's really like a desert. That's where all the cowboys are and farmers. It's a western area. But I grew up in an urban place. So like like Modern Family and all that stuff, like that was kind of my area. I was in like a biking distance from my school. I went to a public school there, and I did elementary until like part of middle school, and then I went back to the Philippines. But I remember starting school at like 8:30 and then ending around 4, and I would have to like switch classrooms and all that stuff. It was a different environment compared to the Philippines. But yeah, it was kind of more free, I think, but it was fun. Very different compared to the Philippines. I don't know what else to say about it though.
You're you're lucky. I went to school 7 a.m. I finished at 5 p.m. No kidding.
Same.
That's in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then see,
And
that's
you
the
have to do homework.
Russell, did you come from a Chinese school in by any
No,
chance?
I came from a science high school,
Ah,
so
okay.
mostly
Pisay. Yeah. Well, the reason why we have such long hours is because we were learning both languages. We learned English and we also had Chinese classes, which is why such a long time. But then that was a long time ago. I'm not gonna tell you how old I am, but yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't think they do that anymore nowadays. Not sure if they do. Okay, next topic. Let's go for religion. Mm, Kaito, would you like to start us off? Religions.
Uh, can you tell me about religion in the Philippines, Russell?
Okay, so basically, the religion here is mostly comprised of Catholic and Christians. So we have Jesus, we have one God, and I think that's basically it. Sums up the, since we're colonized for like 300 years, and that's why we have Catholicism here. And yeah,
Okay. Wait, hold on. Can you tell me about religion in the Philippines, Jasmine?
So religion is like super big here. Like when you're in a Grab or an Uber, you can see the drivers, they have the rosary on their, what's that called? Rear view mirror.
yeah, yeah.
And like before driving, they'll pray on it. And that's something big. A lot of the drivers do that, like a lot of them. There's a lot of churches here too. Like every village has their own church usually, and then driving by you'll see a couple churches. I grew up my high school life. I went to a Catholic school, even though I'm not Catholic. I'm a Methodist, which is a Christian. But I had to learn all the Catholic teachings. I had to go to all the masses, and that's just one of the big things here is that religion is like really big. You see a lot of priests and nuns walking around sometimes.
Yeah, fun fact,
Okay.
even the mall has a church inside of it.
Yeah.
Like every mall.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There would be like a little chapel somewhere in that mall. It's a small version of a church, and then every Sunday, people go to mass. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is a rosary, the one that I posted there, in case you don't know what a rosary is. It's like a beads and then there's like a cross pendant. So, yeah. That's the one Jasmine was talking about. You can see that in cars. A lot of people put that in their car. Okay. Uh, Eisuke and Hana, let's go with you guys. Religion?
Um, about me, I'm in Buddhism, but actually I'm near that I have no religion. Like many Japanese people often, um, Buddhism Japanese often go to shrine in every year, but they also enjoy Valentine's Day or Christmas. So maybe mixed religion. I don't know, but we enjoy just for an event.
I agree with Hana. Um, the main religion in Japan is Buddhism, but almost all Japanese are not much of believer. Yes, that's it.
Kaito, do you want to add anything to that?
Uh, Not really. I'm the same. We have weddings in like churches, but we still like pray for our ancestors that passed away in a Buddhist way.
Okay.
So we are.
I think for me in my family, we're Catholic, but we also attend Christian masses. So I think the difference between a Catholic and a Christian mass is Christian you sing throughout the throughout the duration of the mass, and whereas in Catholic, you mostly pray and listen to yeah, to the priest. So if my mom was like, let's just go to Christian mass for now, just for a change. So yeah, kind of mixed also.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what's next?
Jobs.
Which jobs are the most popular in Japan? Yeah,
Maybe YouTube, right? Um,
yeah.
these days, many Japanese people watch YouTube, and um, I don't know where I saw, but in the news, the ranking which the children wants to be is the the first is YouTuber who takes video and upload it, and I don't know. Next is maybe officer, that not normal officer who works for a company, so that they just want to earn money and use it as they want, maybe for their hobby.
Okay.
And you?
I think the most popular job right now would be, yeah, mostly in the medicine field, nurses and doctors. Yeah, I think most of the family here are like saying, when you grow up you should be a doctor, something like that. And then next would be, I think, uh, pilots are also popular here, aviation. So yeah, do you have anything to add, Jasmine? Because I don't know the popular jobs here, to be honest.
I would say call center agencies. They have like the Philippines has one of like the biggest call centers here. Like this is somewhere of the headquarters are, and a lot of them like when you call for like your phone services or anything, it's usually a Filipino who picks up, and when they speak English, like you think it's like an American or something, but Filipinos have really good English, so you like mix it, but it's usually Filipino. Like it's a lot, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I think yeah.
actually in call centers, if I'm not mistaken, they actually have training classes. Yeah, like I said,
Mhm.
Filipinos actually, when we go to school, most schools use English to teach classes instead of the Filipino languages. So most. That is why almost all Filipinos can understand English. So if I'm not mistaken, in call centers they actually have what they call accent training class. So they try to train their call center agents in speaking in an American accent or maybe a British accent or Australian accent. So it's not surprising that when you hear like a bunch of Filipinos on the street and then they're talking, but that their accents are Australian accents. So it's quite a common occurrence here, actually. Okay. What about Eisuke and Kaito? Do you have anything to add about popular jobs in Japan? Kaito?
Um, like Hannah said, I think YouTuber is pretty popular right now,
Mhm.
and I think the second is game creators. Like, yeah, like, Nintendo, PlayStation, those kind of companies are, I think, popular. And next, I think it's pharmacist, like what Russell said, something similar, like people who work at the pharmacy or in the medicine field is, I think it's popular.
What about Eisuke?
What about you, Eisuke?
It depends on the locations, but in the countryside, a lot of people um, there are a lot of fishers and they are doing agriculture, uh, cultivating and harvest rice and a lot of vegetables. Yeah, so it depends on locations, but there is also fishermen and people who doing agriculture. Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to. Do you think your country is handling the COVID-19 situation well? So I'm seeing reactions. So let's start with Hannah. Do you think your country is handling COVID-19 well?
Mm, no, I think it's not because in Japan, um, maybe last month the prime minister um, gave us some mask, the cloth mask, which WHO not recommend, and many people criticize about that. And also there's a second wave in Japan, and many people also cannot go outside, so maybe not handling. How about your country?
Uh, well, in terms of COVID-19, I think it's worse here since not a lot of people are really following the rules. Like you can see people still gambling in private places, no masks on, and also the government is delayed. Like like after reaching 100,000 cases, that's when they became stricter in handling. So yeah, I think it's late for us. So it's worse. So yeah, let's go
I'll
with
add to Russell.
yeah.
I also think our government, they're kind of like confused on how to control it. Like they'll go on like super strict quarantine and they'll be like, "Oh no, it's okay now. Wait, never mind, we're gonna go back to super strict. Oh, never mind, we're not gonna be strict anymore." And they keep going back and forth, and they're like opening businesses, then closing businesses, then opening it again, and it's just harming the economy right now. Personally, that's what I think.
Yeah, like a few days ago, we just ended a super strict quarantine for 2 weeks. Now we're on a general quarantine, and it's not much of a difference actually. There's a lot of cases happening every day. So
Actually,
They're
it's
requiring us to like wear a shield now, right?
yeah, face shield.
A shield with a face mask.
So it's super hot.
And
Just
I
go
feel so
outside.
claustrophobic.
I think it's ironic because we started quarantine pretty early in Asia. The Philippines is one of the first countries who actually put imposed quarantine on the country. But There are a lot of reasons. One of the reason why, yeah, Jasmine and Russell said, businesses are opening and closing and opening and closing. Actually, I think that one of the reasons why they opened the business, even though obviously we're not ready to open yet, is because economy. I mean, think about it. Closing a business is really harmful for the business, especially if, it's a small business, right? So they opened it, and also because the government is running out of funds. If you think about it, how do you sustain a country with over 100 million people? It's they're spending a lot of money. So yeah, but then this pandemic, I think, has brought the entire world to its knees. I mean, everywhere, you have people saying, "Oh my God, we're still COVID-19," like sweeping all over the country. Yeah. Kaito, how do you think Japan is handling it?
I personally think I don't think it's they're doing a good job because like every um how do you say every announcement that the country makes, it's not compulsory. Like you don't have to follow, like it, they don't make us follow it. They just like say just stay home and just that's it. Like they're taking it, I feel like they're taking it way too easily. Like I think we're like the third most populated cases wise, but still we don't have any like strong uh like quarantine laws or anything. We just got masks and that's it. So I don't think they're doing a really good job, me personally.
Asuke, how about you?
Um, I think it's not so bad. I think people say it's bad in Asia, but compared to other countries on the level of GBT, I don't think Japan is not so bad. Comparing like um UK and US and something so on. So yeah, I don't think it's not so bad. That's it.
Yeah, because they're kind of rebellious. Yeah.
Mhm.
Pretty sure you guys
Okay.
also have seen the news coming out of US. I sometimes I'm not even sure if that's real or exaggerated because the number of news that are coming out from there sometimes it makes you scratch your head saying, "Is this real or is this exaggerated?" So
Oh yeah, about the mask.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Is it true? Really
Jasmine, you have
true?
any news about that?
About
Like
I
the
know when I talk to my sisters,
mm,
because they're in the States right now, whenever they're like outside, they don't really wear masks. But then once they go into the like a store or something, that's when they'll put their mask on. But usually just like out and roaming, they don't wear a mask. I know that.
You'll get caught if you don't wear a mask.
Yeah, I don't
Like
think they're as strict.
like one time in my village, I was just walking around since I was looking for a place to buy some drinks because I don't really go outside in my village. Like so, it's my first time like walking around, and then I got caught by the village guard, and I was detained in in the in the community hall for around 3 hours, and they were like telling me to always wear a mask when you go outside. I was like, but there's no people outside, and then they were like, no, or else you'll pay a fine of 1,000 pesos. I think that's um 2,000 yen. That's in the village, so yeah.
Some
That's also kind of like me.
Go ahead,
Go
Jasmine.
ahead, miss.
Go ahead, Jasmine.
Oh, because like in my village, I'm like kind of separated by a couple gates, and I'm like connected to two other villages. So if I want to like leave, I have to wear a mask, but you're not allowed to go walking or jogging or do any physical activity outside. So the guard will always stop me and be like, "Where are you going? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'm just like, I'm just trying to pick something up. And then they'd be like, "Okay, fine, go ahead." And then they'll like watch me walk to see if I'm actually like going into the village and running off or something. But they're like so cautious about everything, and like they'll stop you. Oh, and there was this one time my dog, she had she was feeling really sick, and my dad tried to bring her to the vet around like 12 p.m. because she felt really really sick. And so they were trying to drive off, but then the guard stopped them and said, "You're not allowed to go out because it's the time, like the time is closed off already, you can't leave." And then my dad's like, "But I have to bring my dog to the vet." But then they wouldn't let him leave, so my dad tried to fight the guard, and like he had to like drive to like the village barangay, which is like the kind of like town hall of the village, and like speak to the head and say, "I have to bring my dog to the vet, like it's a medical emergency, I should be able to leave." It was stressful, but they're super strict.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inconsistencies actually. Here I think I live in Taguig, so it's a city center. It's okay here. Actually, the guards are very reasonable, so if you have an emergency, it's fine. But I've also been to some places in Metro Manila, Quezon City for one. You'd actually be surprised. It's like nothing happened. Nothing. People are just walking around like there's no pandemic. So I think it's very
Yeah.
inconsistent.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Quezon City is number one for the most of the cases
It's the
of
most
COVID-19.
populated city. Almost
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of people who live there. Okay, go ahead, Russell. Move.
Okay, so let's go next with are there any social issues in this country that concern you, and what are they? So, any social issues?
Jasmine, why don't you start with this one? Social issues.
So in the Philippines, I think one of the biggest social issues would be poverty. It can be seen literally anywhere. Like when you're driving on the streets, there could be people begging for money. Like sometimes they'll walk around with like a baby and just knock on your window and then just like ask for money, and you have to like sometimes shoo them off. Or they'll try to sell you different varieties of stuff on the street. But yeah, it can be seen everywhere, even in the nice places. Like you can see poverty somehow.
Well, yeah, aside from poverty, I think another social issue is unemployment. I think before COVID, there are a lot of people who are unemployed in the country, and yeah, I think with the pandemic, I think it really brought the other people to their knees since unemployment rates like soared over the recent months. So yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go with unemployment. Start with Hannah.
Um, in my country, um, mm, maybe overwork is the big issue in Japan because um, for many Japanese people think that they, especially rookie, have to work for seven, more than 10 hours, so more than the rules, and also the income doesn't change, and that makes people to kill by themselves or being died by them. And also, I don't know this is an issue, but many Japanese clerk in the shop thinks that customers are God, so that they have to treat customers as as talking with high position people, like, and so that when the customers, so the, I don't know how to say, but when customers talk that like, so the customers can say that this stuff is not so good, you should be more good, like that. So they stress those cook out, and those things irritated. Yeah, maybe. So sorry, I'm not good at explaining, but something like that.
Actually, I think what you're saying is power tripping, and you can call that power
Yeah,
tripping. Yeah, like I'm powerful, I'm God, you're just a clerk, something like that, right?
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
exactly,
Power.
that one.
You can say power tripping. That's like, you know,
Power
yeah,
tripping.
power
Thank
tripping. Yeah.
you.
Okay. Then who's next? Russell, who's next?
Um, let's see. Maybe Aisuke.
Yes. The birth rate is decreasing in Japan, and aging population is increasing in Japan at the same time. So if I go to countryside, there are a lot of aging people and seniors, and there is no younger people because younger people go to city side like Tokyo and Osaka to work for work. So one of the most biggest issues in Japan is in countryside, if the older people and seniors dies, there will be nobody at all. So um so the government encourage and stimulate younger people to come back to countryside, but it's not so good now. That's it.
Okay, so how
Kaito?
about you, Kaito?
I would like to say, I would like to mention about suicidal rates because in Japan, uh, between the age of 10 and 30, the suicidal rates are the highest in the world. So I really think this is a social issue, and why Japan has such a high suicidal rate is probably because of our beliefs in something related to culture. We are taught to um, not to break the harmony, like the group. Like we shouldn't, like everyone should be apart, and no one should like, I don't know, like
Be
get
different.
go and go. Yeah, be different, something like that. Like everyone, like you can't be quirky in a sense. So if you're like, I don't know, if you can't do, if you didn't do a job well, normally you would just quit. But here, like you can, cause that if you quit, then like you could, I don't know, inconvenience the other group. So you choose the extreme way out. So maybe like the way we think in our culture and our beliefs are increasing the suicidal rate, and I think that's a social issue.
kind of sad. I think there's also a forest, right?
Yeah.
Yes, on the side.
Yeah, below Mount Fuji. Yeah.
Is it really true?
Yeah. Yeah. Like there will be a lot of like guards, like rangers. Like they'll like if they see someone, suspicious, like if they're walking alone with like a bunch of camp goods alone, then they'll like follow you, just check. And like along the way there's a lot of like uh phone numbers to like counseling clinics. So it is true. And yeah, every year a lot of people kind of take themselves out there. So it's pretty serious. Sorry to put this up.
That's okay. It's okay. Um, so let's go with the next topic. What do you think can be done to address those issues? So let's go with Hannah.
About the issue I said, about overworking. These days, many companies try to improve those things by holding some events or asking some volunteers to make some make how to say to make meeting or sorry, I forgot the vocabulary, but something like they talk each other how to deal with like that. And yeah, and also these days many people can use SNS so that they can also talk online, like in Twitter or Instagram, like that. Yes, something.
So for me, I think for the unemployment rate here in the Philippines, I think the best way to uh, give more jobs to people is to support the small businesses. So if we support the small businesses, they can provide more jobs to the people, and the more businesses that are brought up here, the more we can cater to the people. Since we're known to have hardworking people in the Philippines. Yeah. Who wants to go next? What about you, Jasmine? Um,
I was about to. So for poverty, I actually don't know how we can solve poverty because it's such a, it's such a big thing that it takes a while to do, and it's also about how people do it. Like if you ask the government to just give the poor people money, they're not going to fix themselves. They'll take it for granted and just stay poor and below the poverty line. But I think it also goes hand in hand with some other social issues like unemployment. So if we could tackle um, those sections first, then it can also help solve poverty in a way. Like if we find people more jobs or teach them more livelihood lessons and trainings and all that, then they can find ways to start a career or find a job and know the proper etiquette to you know do something with their life to get out of their certain situation. Yes.
Yep.
social re-education.
Yep, social re-education. I think this is beyond like, education like in a school, just in a school. There really has to be a social over overturning of social norms. You know what I mean? Like you really have to teach them to look at things at another perspective. This cannot just be solved in a school, so to speak. Well, each education, of course, from a teacher's point of view.
So, who wants to go next? Kaito? Or
Uh, for suicidal rates, also it's a really big, also it's a really big thing. So I don't really know what to do, but I think to change the way they educate us, if they change it, I think the rate would go down. Like in like many international schools or like in the schools in the States, they will encourage you to do you. Like there will be a lot of discussions, and they encourage you to have your own opinion. Like in Japan, I don't I don't think we had any discussions like over my high school years. Like I think we had like one or two. So like if they changed it a little bit more, then I think it would go down.
so last, let's go with Eisuke. Eisuke.
Um, about suicide. Um, to communicate with others and the opportunities to communicate should be increasing. Like in the school, the teacher should, yeah, school should make some opportunities to talk to each other and what we were doing all day and what we learn from class and what we do in some class, and such communication is such communication can stop to commit suicide. Um, so I think the school or some companies in society should make should make some opportunities to communicate with each other. Yes.
Russell, I think we should proceed to the sharing part.
Okay, so sharing what you learned today, what surprised you the most? Um, I think what surprised me the most is I think it's with the religion, cause yeah, cause my best friend from high school, he's also a Buddhist since he's half Japanese, and he always tells me that um you don't need to go to church every Sunday. You just do good things, and I think that that's practically it. And I wasn't really paying attention since he's my friend. Maybe he's joking. So from what I learned today, I think yeah, I think it's really true that the religion in Japan is more multicultural. So, yeah. So I think I believe him. Next is uh wants to go next. You guys can just
I'll
open your
go.
your okay.
The thing I surprised the most is that there's a serious rules fine in your country, and in Japan there aren't those things, and restaurant or some shops have to do by themselves. So, and also I surprised that there are some um and police, some people who check who what people are doing, or the people who pay attention to them. So yeah, I thought that it is very serious in your country. And but also Japan, I think Japan should do the same thing too, because now we are getting more serious. So yeah, that's all.
So who wants to go next? You guys can just open your microphone. And the
Oh,
floor is yours.
I'll go next.
Okay.
The thing that surprised me most was how strict how strict quarantine is in the Philippines. Like, to be honest, I've never worn a mask. I'm so sorry, but like I'm really surprised that someone would care that much. The guard or the village guard in Russell's village. So I was like surprised. Yeah, thank you.
Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I surprised that all the islands are so separated in Philippines. I didn't know, and they are all called Filipinas. I didn't know. I surprised it.
Okay, so I'm next. I think what surprised me the most would be um, how much, how do I say the words? How much stress you guys put on yourselves, and you guys don't really have an outlet to express it and like share it to others. I don't think it's something that you guys do normally, and hear people just talk and talk and gossip, and they just talk about their lives, and I don't think that's something you Japanese people usually do, right? So that surprised me because I didn't really think like, I knew about the forest and all, but I didn't think of how bad the suicide rate was in Japan. And I mean, if you guys want to talk, you guys can talk to me. But yeah, that's what surprised me the most.
I think Miss, I think you're on
Now,
mute.
Okay. Well, that goes to show that you learn something new every day. Okay. Anyway, it's almost time, and I know you guys have classes to go to after this. So thank you very much. I learned a lot today from you. Actually, not just Japan, but also the Philippines. Learned a lot today. Okay. So I hope you guys found this interaction interesting, and I will see you again next time. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Russell and Jasmine, for taking over this interaction
For
class.
sure.
Okay. I'll see you then. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye
thanks,
everyone.
Miss.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye
Matane.
bye.
Matane.